Okay, hold on a second. Welcome. I'm Bob Pace, your host, and I am live on this podcast, How to Fight CPS and Stop Taking Our Children. I welcome you all. I had a caller that called in just when we were starting our show, and I wanted to take the call because I think it's important that people call me. They're able to speak on the show. My Danielle is my co-host, and she's here, so I'm going to get her on. Good
Hey,
evening, Dan. Okay. I got
hey,
Danielle,
I
who's
made it.
Georgia. I also have a gentleman on the phone from Georgia. Your name again is what again?
Oh, really?
Out here in Ringgold, Georgia.
William, and the last name?
Ringgold. I know where.
Yeah. You know where Ringo is, Danielle?
Yeah, I'm in Ackworth. It's not that far. It's about a 45 minute
Yeah.
drive for me. I think,
What
yeah,
happened is
it's
that
not,
his daughter was taken, and he says right now that in foster care they're making her wear a padded bra. And that's
I have the actual picture that was taken by a secretary for I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it's a lady that works for secretary for academic affairs for one of the Georgia universities in Dalton, Georgia.
okay. So
what is that?
His wife has died 7 years ago, Danielle. So he's trying to raise his daughter by himself. Do you have any other
bless your heart.
children?
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes, I do. I have one up in Washington State, Longview, Washington. I've been fighting for her too.
Oh, wow.
Her mother is an active Antifa member that has kept my daughter completely away from me.
So you were married twice?
Wow. How?
No, I wasn't married twice.
Well, okay, you have two children. Are they outside of marriage,
Yes.
both children?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you had two different biological mothers, and one mother has passed away 7 years ago. The other mother is preventing you from seeing this another daughter up there in Washington?
Yes, the other daughter is 16 years old, and Abigail's fixing to turn 14.
Okay, so you got two teenagers at a terrible age because teenagers go through a lot in their teenage years. And with a CPS case, I guess you know that they're corrupt. They're not your friend. They will not help you.
Sorry.
Do you have a lawyer
My
in either
internet.
one of the cases? Do you have a lawyer?
No, I fired my attorney, Adam Cathy, and I've been fighting this on my own. So
Okay.
my last court date, I brought
How?
11 American Disabilities Act civil rights violations against the court and against the state of Georgia under the mental health kids piece and also the other mental health facility in Savannah, Georgia, because they've had my daughter in mental health facilities for almost a year now.
Why is she in mental health?
What's the name of the place?
I don't know the name
It's
of
not
the place.
Devereaux, is it?
Savannah, Georgia.
Is it Desrow?
Devereaux.
Devereaux?
Devereaux?
No.
Okay. Why
No?
was she
Okay.
declared
'Cause my son
mentally
is.
incompetent?
Go ahead.
Who did that? Who declared her that?
So they've declared her to have ODD,
I'm listening still.
ADHD, and PTSD.
Now, how did they determine these social
How old is
workers
she?
were not clinical psychiatrists? She's 14. She's going to be 14.
No,
14,
she's
okay,
13 right now.
14.
She turns 14 in August.
She'll turn 14 in August. She's 13 now. And somehow
So
someone has declared, was it a CPS worker? Was it a CPS worker? Okay. Was it a CPS worker that
a piece of evidence with everybody?
Okay, but
Kids piece has stated.
well, hold
that
on with
this
your
is
evidence. Hold on with your evidence. I need to know who declared she was mentally had these mental problems. Who said that?
DFACS did.
Who is DFACT?
Department of Family and Children's Services.
A part of the
within
CPS
Katusa
system.
County.
Well, they can't determine that because they're not licensed to do that. They're not doctors. They can't determine that. And if you're representing yourself, you can tell the honor, and you could also go to your private pediatrician to see your daughter who's 13 to be checked out by your private pediatrician, and they can give you paperwork to document that she's not mentally ill.
Well, they've already, so what I'm dealing with in this case is not only, I'm dealing with indoctrination and grooming. I actually have a piece of evidence that is crucial for all parents. Bowden, Georgia Kids Peace, one of their representatives, called this letter that I just found in my daughter's property, they called it a pedophile's grooming blueprint letter.
What?
Okay.
Wow.
So they're gonna groom them as a pedophile? They're gonna groom them as a pedophile, or is there a pedophile that is with your daughter?
I don't know who this individual is. I'm fixing to turn it over to the FBI because of what the letter said.
Right.
What does the letter say? Can you read us the letter, or can you sum up what the letter said?
Okay, so here's where this is the very end of the letter. So it goes into detail all of my daughter's weaknesses, especially pertaining to her mother and her attitude. And on the very bottom of it, it says, write me things that you want to say, but don't want to say out loud.
It's got to be
But
like
right who?
the mental. It's got to be somebody at the facility that she's at, like the site, like the teacher or sound. Because like my son got sent to Texas, and he is at a place called Devereaux Advanced Behavioral Health. They sent him to League City, and that sounds like it's someone that do you get to see her? Or did I freeze up again? Oh, sorry.
But here's the thing. DFAX has been targeting the whole, parent advisors and everybody have come to me and told me that DFAX wants me to not be okay with my daughter's sexual identity because since she's been in DFAX, she was straight before she went in there. Now all of a sudden she comes to me telling me that she is transgender. And I didn't have any clue what that was. I jokingly said, is that like a Peter Pan syndrome?
No, a transgender is a human being that's born as a man that wants to turn into a woman.
Yeah.
And
they've targeted me because I was one of the parents on Vance Road in Chattanooga, Tennessee, that actually demonstrated against the transgender community, asking for children 10 and under to show up for free.
To show up for free or to show up to freak?
To show up for free.
I was on the front page of the actual Chattanooga Free Press.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you what he is saying, Bob, is it's very where my son's at, I've noticed, and it's no for these workers or whatever, there is a lot of gays in the facility, and I've spoke with a person that was at the same facility that my son was at that aged out of foster care, and they are now transgender, and they went in, and I've heard this. It's a very common thing here with kids in foster care, and I've talked to some firsthand like people that have been in these facilities like Devereaux and other facilities that they it's something and maybe I can get him to come on the show, or her, I mean Caitlin, and talk about it, because that'd be something that you would I can relate with this gentleman very well when it comes to the whole, because that's what I'm experiencing with mine as well.
Let me I'll go ahead and read the letter so you guys can clarify exactly what it says.
Okay.
Right. It says, from Carson, I know you're going through a lot. I know this place sucks. 8-year-old should have. So I know you've been through a lot. I can't imagine how it feels to lose a parent. I lost mine mentally, but that's far more different. Though I do know what it feels like to be threatened, bullied, hurt by parents, and be thrown into defects, not even into a good placement. I also know how it feels to not know how to control your actions. But guess what? You can. Weird, right? I never thought I could do it. I always thought that's just who I am. Also, I'll never change. Then no one cares if I do good, and I can't do it. Lately, I don't want to control it, but that's 1 million other things I used to tell myself. Okay, here's where it gets good. This is how I learned to control it. My advice, ask for help with people around you, like me, staff on shift, crisis line, a trusted peer, etc. Not staff that's not on shift, a rude peer, etc. Be calm, don't scream, yell, throw things, etc. Tell yourself these affirmations. I am strong. I am enough. I don't need to act up. I am loved. Even when I don't feel it, I love myself. I can write more if you want. Write in a journal. Don't say it to people. Write it. Don't give it to them. Laugh out loud. So that's the thing. Don't give it to them. Laugh out loud. That's where they keyed in on a lot of this.
Well, who's this guy? Who is this guy? Who's this guy? Is he a girl or a guy that's writing this?
That's what I don't know.
He's still trying to.
Well, how was it signed? How was it signed? How was it signed?
What's the name?
How was it signed?
Yeah,
I know, but how was it signed?
And
wait, Daniel. How was it signed?
Okay, go ahead. I'm listening.
It's signed from Carson.
Does it say his position that he has with Child Protection Services?
No, it does not say anything like that.
What is the address? What is the address from the letter? Because this is a con artist who's doing this. I'm just trying to help you. If this is not on letterhead from a CPS, it has nothing to do with it. Is it from the Department of Human Resources? Is it Department of Social Services? What is the letterhead, or what is the address from this person, Carson?
It's the only thing on it is it's a piece of paper that actually is like a letter just handed to somebody.
Well, okay, first of all, this is a con artist that is taking advantage of your situation. Now, who got this paper? Your daughter or you?
My daughter did, and I found it in her property today when she came in. So she came in Friday for her weekend visit. She is scheduled to be home June 8th.
Okay.
But here's the crazy part. They've been trying to push the date back, and all of a sudden my child comes in the house with all this evidence with her. They knew I was going to go through it because I'm a very protective father. I want to know what's going on. I am very aware that my daughter is being groomed. I'm not that slow.
Well, I didn't say you were. I'm not implying you are slow, but I'm also implying that you need to see her pediatrician. You need to see somebody that you have control over to help your case. You need to build a case against where this Carson entity is. This Carson is probably a loose cannon, a part of CPS, because they're very corrupt. They'll lead you up and they'll tear you down. They make misleading remarks. They make you sign papers. Your mission is never to talk to social workers. And if you do, it's a yes, no answer. Be polite, but tell them you need to talk to your attorney before you go any further. Let them get the impression that you got an attorney. And I'm not talking about a court-appointed attorney. I'm talking about a real attorney that fights CPS.
Any single time that I I've addressed them. Due to Georgia state standards, any pro se litigant is treated exactly the same as any attorney in the matter. So when I speak to defects, it is always done by email and text message. And when I speak
because so you can have proof.
I do videos. I lay my phone down.
And you record it.
So they've kicked me out because of that.
They did the same to me, Georgia. They did the same.
Well, what you need to do, right? What you're gonna, you go ahead. I got a solution to your matter that you're gonna have to do. It's a two-part solution, and what I mean by that, go ahead, talk.
Here's the big ticket. When they took my daughter into custody, they took my daughter from Ringgold Middle School. I immediately went in, put on the video, and I addressed the principal and the sheriff. Now, the sheriff of Catoosa County is Sisk. His wife is Meredith Sisk. And Meredith Sisk was who I spoke to. She not only yelled at me, screamed at me, and I addressed the situation as just exclusively the way that I say it. I told her, you are a public servant. We, the people, have determined you to be somebody to serve our community. Your oath is your obligation.
This is the problem, is you are trying to fight them, and that is the big no-no. What you do is you ignore them. You do exactly what you're...
Here's the thing.
Go ahead.
Here's where it gets good. I asked her point blank, what gave you the right to hand my child over to the Department of Family and Children's Services? They said that they were handed paperwork. I immediately addressed that. I need a copy of that paperwork. Well, we don't have it. And I told him, I said, then that is kidnapping.
No, that they don't have a case. They don't have a case. They don't have a case. And that's what I'm going to try to tell you. You need to go to the state of Georgia, to the Department of Child, Family, and Adult Services. In that department, you need to talk to a civil rights coordinator, a ombudsperson. Do you have the info, Danielle? Do you have the info, Daniel?
I can. Yeah, I can get it. I can get it.
Daniel has the information. You need to go over their heads. First of all, if that case,
well, I'm willing to give my cell phone number out to people because I'm trying to get involved
my connection
with people that are fighting these facts right now.
Right, but the problem is you can fight, but the problem is they're going to do a retaliation. And what you need to do is get your case over, then go after them, then do the lawsuits, then fight them, because there's people all across the country that are going before their capital and doing raise awareness. They're contacting their governor. They're contacting their governor.
I contacted John Ossoff.
What are you going to say, Daniel?
I said I contacted John Ossoff, and I've been in that bipartisan investigation that's going on here in Georgia. That they didn't even have the focus on wrongful removal.
John Ossoff that Danielle's contacted. You're going to have to.
He's the one that's refused to speak to me.
Why?
Really?
Why?
I have no clue.
Did his office, when you contact the office, they said they can't talk to you?
Did he contact
the? They said they were going to get back a hold of me, but nobody ever got back a hold of me because I seen on the web that he was going after DFAC, so I immediately got involved and tried to contact their office, and I was told that someone would reach back out to me and speak to me, and nobody ever did.
Well, you're going to have to do this, and it's probably bad. You got to call them every day until they do get back to you.
There's a form I can send. I can get him like I never called. I filled out forms and I did emails. That's how I contacted them. And I've been getting. I'm in contact with one of the constituents or on the subcommittee, Miss Kennedy Slade. That's part of his subcommittee, and she emails me, and we keep in contact because the department keeps saying that my concern has been reviewed and satisfactorily resolved. No, it hasn't. But I can send you to the information to contact them and to get a response back. It's a whistleblower form, and I can send you that link, and I just have to pull it up and everything, and I can get you that if you're wanting. I can do that because I am in contact.
Are you watching the show right now?
Me?
Am I watching it?
Yeah.
I can't get on Facebook, period. I am banned from Facebook.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you're live on YouTube, and we're using the StreamYard application. And I have right now 2 people that have texted into the podcast. Regina Nadia, who is from West Hollywood, California. And she says, "Hi, Daniel. Hi, Bob. We're great," and so forth. Then Lori Hillner, we never know where she's from, but she's on every day, twice a day. And she talks about a person named William Mullins. I have no idea who that is. And then she's asking, "What is your name again? What is your name again?"
William Beals.
Is that Fields? Fields?
But Beals is B as in boy, EALS. My family is Beals in Buckingham.
Okay. So this Nadia is that it's Beals, William Beals, and he's from Georgia in a town called or the county
Ringgold.
called
Ringgold.
Ringgold.
No, Ringgold. He's in North Georgia.
Yeah.
So
what I understand what your case are, you see, by fighting it yourself, I try to fight CPS here in California. I went to the director at the top of CPS in Orange County, and I found out that their building, which was the Taj Mahal of India, or the Emerald City of the Wizard of Oz, he was worthless. And for a year, I tried to fight CPS myself. The court-appointed attorneys were worthless. I got a real fighter of an attorney. I got attorney Vincent Davis, and he got my 2 boys back, but he also fought the social worker and proved she was lying, and then she took revenge, and she told our daughter at 12 that you're going to divorce your parents, you're going to change your name, you're going to get seal your birth certificate, and you're going to get adopted in the foster care family. She's 21 now. She's still in touch with my sons, even though she's divorced from her brothers. But I encouraged them to stay together. But she still hasn't come back to us as parents. She left her foster care family, which was useless, and now she's living with her older sister, which is okay. At least I know where she's at, and she's okay. So she's not far from us. And she just the other night, on Friday night, saw my 2 sons, which I was thrilled to death. So those 3 are still trying to stay together. And I know that she's probably been abused by CPS. They alienated her. They traffic her into the foster care system. It's the only agency I know that can legally do trafficking. And why I want to emphasize this, the mentality, the mental minds of these social workers, these CPS social workers. I'm talking about the child protection system when it has different names in every state. They, in Prescott, Arizona, 8 social workers made T-shirts, the pink shirts, in 2022. And on the front of the shirt, it says, "We're professional child kidnappers." And on the back, it said, "Parents, do you know where your children are at?" And they're parading around stores like that. They got fired right away. 25 years of experience these workers had. And the director got fired. And this was all in Arizona. And you can look it up. But that's the mentality. And I have a picture right now for everybody to see. That's 8 social workers. It's terrible that they think that way. They lead these parents to deception. So you're going to have to go over the top of the head. And I recommend, or we recommend, we're not lawyers, that you, say yes, no answers, be polite to them, but don't divulge anything. Don't discuss anything. And say that you got an attorney and you need their opinion before you discuss any further. They don't know if you have an attorney. And I recommend that you do get an attorney. If you can't afford one, there are pro bono attorneys out there that will help you. You just got to do the homework. Go ahead.
Here's here's the big ticket here in the state of Georgia. Now, I've tried to get 3 investigations done. My daughter disclosed to me that at the age of 12, that she's been in 8 sexual relationships while in DFACS care. And I immediately went in, filed for a formal investigation to be done. And the judge and the attorney general said absolutely not. So I did that 3 times.
Why did they say not? Why did they not say that if your daughter is testifying to you that she's been in sexual relationships? Did she want to be in them?
Because they would not let my daughter come into the courtroom. They kept telling me that my daughter was afraid of me. They told me my daughter hates me. They told my daughter I hate her. Okay?
No.
And when me and my daughter got to see each other, we actually connected very well. And I told her, I said, Abigail, it doesn't matter what you choose as an orientation. You are my child. That is your decision.
Right.
I can't make your decisions for life.
What brought on this orientation? What brought on this orientation of her thinking? What brought this on?
He's
DFACS.
He don't rightly know, but he knows it's been since she's been in the system, and that's not cool. Because I mean, I understand what he's going through. But I mean, my son's 18 and he's in, and I totally, your daughter, she's being brainwashed and they're trying to alienate you from her. It sounds like they're trying to separate.
Okay, here's the thing is, have you gone to a therapist yet with your daughter, your own therapist that you hire?
Or like a bonding study?
No, they refuse to.
No, they don't need, this is your.
Have family counseling.
No, this is where you could take your daughter, you can request your daughter to see, do you have your medical rights to your daughter?
No, they still refuse to give me,
So how did you lose your medical? How did you lose your? How do you lose your medical and educational rights? How did you lose them?
Do you still have your parental rights?
They're just DFACS is telling me that until I get custody of her, I do not have the legal right to her medical file. Which in the last court hearing that I went to, I asked for all evidentiaries, every single piece of paperwork that they had on any form of medical treatments, any form of psychological treatments, anything that she's gone through, because I just hit them on the medical board through the state of Georgia for my daughter coming home, handing me a tooth that was broke off, and DFACS refused to send her to the dentist. Now, under federal law, it states that if you have a child or any human being in any facility that has an emergency like that, because your tooth, your molar, if you get a cyst in it, you can die from it. Anybody knows that.
Right.
Okay.
That is correct.
They're refusing my daughter emergency dental care.
And she's in a facility within the state system, and that is true, because that falls for my son out in Texas. He's still in the hands of.
And I handed them medical cards.
Wow.
And I handed DFACS her medical card and told them, use this medical card. This is my medical, specifically set up for my child.
I'm trying to figure out when you lost your parental rights to your daughter. That's what I'm trying to find out.
Did you have a TPR? You never had a TPR?
Well, then if you have your parental rights. Yeah, but if you haven't lost your parental rights, you still have the educational and the medical rights for your daughter.
Like you never had a TPR hearing, at all? Because that would have been termination of your parental rights. You never had one of those?
Nope.
See, that's
as a matter of fact, this case has been sideways, up and down. The way that they're supposed to do this case, my trial that I had, I wasn't even present because of the simple fact that I had court obligations I was dealing with, and I cannot discuss those court obligations.
That's fine.
I'll just say that I am, as they call, an enemy of my country, but I cannot discuss those court obligations.
You know.
But at the same time, in missing my court date, everything in those transcripts show that all witnesses were led in their statements. They were yes or no statements. They never had to give factual proof. They never had to say what happened. The Attorney General read off their statements and said, "Are these facts?" I've got all the blueprints on that. All of it.
On your court orders, let me
even asking them for a retrial, they said absolutely not.
Did on any of your court orders, let me ask you this: when they do the draft up on the and rule in it on any court order you have, is there anything ever involving nunc pro tunc on your court orders where it's now before then, where they try to say that something that happened in the now and they try to backdate it for a past court date?
Yeah.
Like trying to.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yes. Okay. You're the first person that I've heard.
Yeah.
Besides myself.
Told them, under federal guidelines, that's highly illegal.
Exactly, and that's not supposed to be used for judicial error at all, and it's supposed to be for like a minor typo, and because there's no room for error, and even in their policies and procedures manual, it even states that nunc pro tunc is only supposed to be used in like these kind of certain situations, and very rarely. And you're the first other person that I've heard besides my case that has had it used. They've used it. And because that's what they've done to me.
I was educated on this one in the state of Washington. And what I was told was that pro tunc is nothing more than a stall technique. It is highly illegal because if any human being takes a child into custody, there has to be immediate paperwork for them to take that child into custody.
Right.
Otherwise, it is considered federal kidnapping.
Right. And yes, and that's correct. And that how can they take something like, how can a CPS worker go into court and say that they firsthand have knowledge of the of the complaint when they got notified of it? They can't plead like that. That's fraud. They didn't have.
Here's the other part that really got my attention.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my ex just split up, and the reason that one of the core reasons why we split up was that the defects worker never got a hold of me, spoke to me in person or over a phone, in text, in any form of way
when they
first took my child. That lady never spoke to me, but she called my ex and she asked about my child. So then my ex told her that they need to put her in a mental hospital because they weren't getting along. But that's because my daughter still goes through the ordeal about her mother passing away. And so they immediately put her in the mental hospital under her accord. She is not her biological mother. Therefore, she does not have the right to make that decision. That comes upon the father. And I never gave them the right to lock my daughter in a mental institution.
Because that's just like with my child. My mother had guardianship, and this has been something that's been going on since 2011, and I never had defects in my life ever. And my son never. And my mom passed away unexpectedly in 2022. My aunt pretty much took my son, and the day my mother passed, and took him, and I was going to get him and gave him to the state and told them that I abandoned my kid and never had any involvement with him. And she hadn't seen me in 10 years, which was all lies. And they'd failed to contact me or anything. It took them they contacted me on Facebook pretty much. Like while I'm trying to find my kid, and they never contacted anybody in my family as well, because my son would not be in this situation if my aunt and they would have did what they were supposed to do. Like I was going to get my son, and my aunt did this, started this, and that's what they went by, was what my aunt said. They failed to prevent foster care, and they did not exhaust all reasonable efforts or anything. They didn't even attempt to, but they said on the paperwork that they did. They didn't even remove him from my care. Like he was never physically in my care. My mom was guardian, and she passed. And so my whole case is a mess as well. Like it's always kids that are in facilities, I've noticed, and especially with that nunc pro tunc as well, because it sounds like with your case that they are just going along with it as it goes along, just making stuff up. I mean, and that's because I've had there's caseworkers in my paperwork that I've never even met before. I don't even know these people, and how can they get on the stand and say anything when she's never talked to me herself. I mean, people I don't know. But they sent my son to Texas without my consent. Like I totally, and they shipped him out, and he's been over there for.
Well, they didn't know you existed. That was the problem. When your mother died, they didn't know you existed. They didn't try.
They didn't try, but I was in February. They didn't ship him out until February, and they just said when they finally got in touch with me, they hadn't shipped him out yet. And they told me that
why'd they go ahead and ship them if they just got a hold of you?
Because their plan, they told me that I wasn't the appropriate placement, or they already had their minds made up. I mean, that's how, and it's in the paperwork. Like their minds were made up, and that's where the guardian ad litem comes in.
Did you try to contact ICPC?
I didn't know
that.
I have.
You did not know at that time who the ICPC was.
I didn't know nothing. Like I was still new. Like my aunt and uncle.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's and they it comes back to that guardian ad litem. He's affiliated with Texas. If they had to search for months for this placement, and they said there was no placements in Georgia, how did they have this so quick when my family's right here and so am I? And it's the guardian. Does your daughter have a guardian ad litem, William?
Oh yeah, he's a joke. He is an absolute joke. I mean, this guy. So they held me off for 6 months for my next court hearing. There was issues that were going on, and my daughter had been in a relationship and was accused of sexually violating a girl. Which, in turn, when they spoke to me about it, I advised my daughter, I said, as pro se litigant, I am advising my child not to speak to you guys at all unless all attorneys are present. Therefore, we have the legal right to process this if you are trying to bring any form of charges against my child or determine whether she's going to stay at this facility longer. So I want to read you guys an email that I just sent to DFAC.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Before you read that, I need to say hello to a lot of people that come into my room here. I don't want to feel ignored because I am doing this this podcast. I want to welcome Ashley Williams. She's from Newport, Arkansas, and I have sent you a list of pro bono attorney webpage that should help you. I understand you've gone through 44, but you may have to do another 44 to get them. It takes a lot of hard work to find a pro bono attorney. And I want to welcome Medina from Lake County, Illinois, and Waukegan, Illinois. I know where Waukegan is. That's the Naval Training Center. Great Lakes is there. So I want to welcome Medina there. And I know, Ashley, that your daughter's going through annihilation, and they will try to do that. The CPS is so bad. And I see further from Nadila right? And so she's saying agrees with what's going on, and then Medina, never happened here either. Zion, Illinois, no paperwork, no emergency, no court order, not even my home. My me too, not in my care. Listening to investigators. Nope, I don't know anything either. You know, the hardest thing, all of you, including my caller in right now, William,
Yeah.
it's so hard what you're going through. And the thing that I found from talking to over 500 people across the country in every state, and also talking to some of the people from other countries, that the more you talk to social workers, the more you try to. One thing I found out that was just a couple days ago, a girl named Carol from Indiana is helping people out with legal matters that she says that she found. You need to find out if your case in Georgia has been reported to the state, because if it hasn't, they don't have a leg to stand on. They don't have a leg to stand on. And if you know that for a fact that they haven't done so, then you have to contact the ombudsperson and do a strong complaint and get that case dropped. And so that's what I'm trying to tell everybody out there. But go ahead, William, and read me your email. Go ahead and read it.
So I wanted to read this email so everybody understands the level that I brought it to DFAC. So I said, I do believe you understand that with this photo floating around through all these facilities and group homes, as well as foster homes, that DFAC has put my child in a very precarious position. Not only has your DFAC staff and all that have come into contact with my child had the possibility of not only disclosing that this photo was in existence, but y'all are mandated reporters. So now I am not only expecting a federal investigation, I am contacting the FBI Special Victims Unit, as well as speaking with attorneys. Now the courts have violated the dignity and self-respect of my child. This is considered soft porn. However, since my child was 12, it is a federal charge. How do I not know that this photo is not floating across the dark web and has the capacity to destroy my child's future? I am above and beyond pissed about this. And I have all the information on this individual. It is sad that this is what DFAC and the Attorney General has, as well as all attorneys involved, would be considered protecting a child. I am asking for immediate resignation of all individuals that handled her property, as well as continued to let this photo float free. Now I seek criminal charges as well as immediate dismissal of my child's case, period. I made that abundantly clear. That period is wrote P-E-R-I-O-D, not just a dot. I need them to know that.
Well, here's your problem. You're going against a $50 billion business. That's how much CPS makes off everybody. They make $20,000 per child per month. That amounts to over $50 billion. The foster care makes $14 billion of that $50 billion. And the money comes into the state and it trickles down to the county. And what you need to do is you need to go to the state level and make the complaints. You need to get the Congress people involved. And if that guy Oshman is, you need to call him every day. Or Oshman or whatever. I'm sorry, Daniel, what?
No, I can get with him and tell him what I did.
Right, I can do that. If you want to, William, I can give you your number to Danielle and she can talk to you after this podcast. If you would like me to do that.
Perfect.
Okay,
however,
good.
After the podcast, I have to get some sleep because I have to get up in the morning and drive.
I don't blame you, but maybe the next day or two. So if you receive a call from Danielle, she's reaching out to you. So that would be fine there. So
and I can tell him and give him the stuff that I did, and who I reached out to.
Yeah.
And
Natalie wants to talk to you too on that too. Well, I have about 10 minutes left. What other questions can we help you out with, William?
He's got it.
Basically, what I'm trying to find out is I'm trying to get all information of who I can contact, who's gone through similar situations, especially pertaining to the thing that disturbed me the most was the letter that was in my daughter's property, because in addressing all these situations, I've always said everybody says that I'm a conspiracy theorist when it comes to the grooming and the indoctrination. Now I have the actual physical proof. So it is not a conspiracy theory when you can present facts.
Right. And I'll discuss we gotta talk, because my son we'll talk, William, for sure, because when it comes to that, we'll talk because
Well, this letter is already going out across the internet, minus my daughter's name, but it's going across the internet to it's going through all the different motorcycle clubs, because right now I am involved in I am going to be the national president for a club called FAFO, and what we do, we fight human trafficking, we fight fentanyl distribution, and we fight any form of domestic terrorism that comes within our community to safeguard our communities. We are not one percenters. We are not 13s. We are concerned with our communities, especially when it comes to human trafficking.
Right. And yeah, that's
so we're a different entity than most motorcycle clubs out there.
I understand. I get it. And that's awesome. That's awesome. Like, because they traffic these. They're doing it right. Like with the kids. I mean, they're doing it right under our. It's crazy. And how can these people? It's. They think they can get away with it, and
I just have a gut feeling that my child's already been targeted for it.
And you know what? And I agree with you there, because I feel as though my child has. Yes, because of how they did. We'll talk, William, for sure. We will, because I can relate with his case very much, Bob. Like, I can relate with his case very, like, there's a lot that his case is similar to mine, like almost to a T.
Well, he's got to find out if he has a case. If it's not registered at the state level, then that case is a moot point.
I'm pretty sure his case is at the state level.
What it's looking like is that it's registered at county level. It doesn't look like it's registered.
Okay, well, if it's not
by law, they have to notify the state, because they get the funds from the state. If they don't notify the state, they won't get the funds. So, by law, in the easy way to do it is you contact the ombuds person, and
the
you find
Georgia
out.
Department of Human Services Division of Division of Family and Children Services.
You have the number?
I do.
Are you talking about the Atlanta office?
No, I'm talking about the state office.
That'd be
the Atlanta office. I tried to contact the head. I've called Brian Kemp, the Republican that is over DFACS. He refuses to return any calls. The state level, the lady that runs DFACS, she
Candace
refuses to return any calls. All of these officials, none of them will speak to me.
Well, have you put it in writing to them?
No, because I don't have emails or anything for them.
Well, they give the addresses. They give the addresses. They give you the addresses. You send a certified mail. That's your ammunition against them. You start off your letter saying, this is to a certified that I'm contacting you in writing, that I need to speak to you about the following. And be very specific about it. And I request you return and respond to my letter.
When you contacted John Ossopp, and you never got a response at all, like nothing.
Well, he never returned his phone call. The problem being with most people, Most people, 99% of the people I've dealt in my life, don't like to return phone calls. I'm that 1%. Any phone call, any email, even the people that have called me here, I've responded to them.
Yeah.
And
And
so, they don't like doing that. And sometimes I may have to call someone back 10 times. They get irritated. So look, all you have to do is tell me yes or no. If you don't want to talk to me, say no. And then I can speak to someone else. Who's your
I've been
boss?
contacting them through email because, and if I don't get a response within so many days or a week, I'll email again, and then I will eventually get a response, and then I'll call and leave voicemails. And you have to be persistent. Like, I mean, email, call, do it. I mean, and they will. I mean, and even the subcommittee, they told me, Miss Law, you have to be patient. We are working on your concern with the agency, and we're awaiting a reply. Because I mean, I wasn't hearing nothing, and I wasn't happy with them saying that they satisfactorily resolved it, and it's not true. Because my son he was abused. I mean, and yeah, it's. My son
Natalie,
go ahead. The craziest part in my case of all, any single time my daughter has brought any accusation against DFACS or any facility that she's at, DFACS's immediate response is she manipulates and lies and fabricates.
Are you serious? They said that?
That is their immediate response. They don't say anything else but that.
Wow. Wow, that's you sound just like, I mean, like my case. Like it's a lot. Wow.
Yeah, this is the craziest thing that I've ever gone through. I mean, I even
but yeah, Medina, the weight, who do you contact at the state level? And you're in, where were you at again? You'll have to, in your state, where were you from? Let's see. Let me see if you, Illinois? Okay. I will look that up for you, Medina. 1 second.
Yeah, Natalie wants you to contact her, Danielle.
I will. I will do that as well.
Okay. Well, we have about 8 minutes left. I didn't talk about my rules real quickly. My rules are covered in my other podcasts. Rule number one is you get an attorney. I don't, it's important because it's like you're going to get work done in your heart. Are you going to open your chest? Are you going to get a layperson to open your chest? Are you going to get a plumber? Are you going to get a auto mechanic to work on your heart? No, you're going to get a professional doctor. You need a professional attorney because CPS is that awful. They traffic your children. It's been proven by those 8 social workers what their mentality is. They lie. They'll lead you on. They'll make promises. If you sign a paper, do not sign anything. Say no to social workers, no to policemen. Don't let them take your children. Don't let them in your home. They need a court order. They need a warrant. I didn't know these things. And my children weren't in extreme danger. They're at school the day they stole my children. They're at school. And it seems like the MO right now is as soon as they hear somebody, they believe it's true. And they don't know that a lot of the people that call in are retaliating against family members, but they automatically take your child. They'll call you up and show up at your door. They'll come into your home, which you don't want to because you don't know what's laying around. You need an attorney. And that's why I stress you have an attorney. And right now I have Vincent W. Davis. They'll do a consultation now. All you do is you call in at, let me get his number here. You call in at 888-6582. Also, the consultation is, I have this ticket below me that you would contact the consultation with attorney Vincent Davis, care of Bob Pace, Candley, facebook.com/law office VWD/Bob Pace. And you can check his calendar there. So call in at 888-888-6582 and tell him that Bob Pace sent you. And also, when you talk to Mr. Davis, tell him the same thing. So that's my rule number one. And it's the strongest thing you need to do, because for a year and a half, I did what you did, William. I got nowhere. And if I had to do the whole thing over again, I would never let them in my home, and I would never let them in their children unless they had a court order. And I would have put my children in another state with family members until the matter cleared up. I would never jeopardize my children. I would have shipped them out of the state and put them with other family members and not tell CPS where my children are. And that is wrong what they did. They have really harmed my family. I lost my home, my $2 million home, because of CPS. I lost my 12-year-old daughter because of CPS. And my two boys have been struggling. One was a senior in college, and he dropped out because of CPS. That had gotten to him. My youngest one is still graduating this year, which I'm happy to say, but he's been affected. They've all been affected. So
I gotta get this website for Medina real quick. I gotta get this website for Medina. If my computer will load up, I'm gonna get it for her so I can, and I'll add it to the page.
So I'm gonna give you a little bit of my backstory. I grew up in foster care and group homes. I don't have family to send my daughter to.
Okay.
And at the same time, if I could afford an attorney, I would have already had an attorney. Due to the simple fact that I made the best decision by telling my ex she had to leave for my child, I'm barely making it. I'm going through it, but that's why I say that I drive 60 miles to work and 60 miles home just to make $25 an hour. And I'm also getting hit with child support from the other child, which the mother took the child support away, but DFACS immediately contacted her and let her know that I'm dealing with the DFACS case. So she immediately went in to get child support.
Oh, wow.
And not only did she take the child support away, but when she took the child support away, the state of Washington continued to chalk it up. And then when they chose to bring it back, at one point in time, I was paying $1,800 a month for one child because I'm an ex-union carpenter. I was making over $48 an hour in the state of Washington, and now I'm down here. I mean, if I was in Washington State, I'd be making over $55 an hour, but I'm not.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean,
Well, the child support depends on how much time you're with your child. If it's a 50-50 child support, but if you don't have any time with your child, you're going to pay through the nose with child support.
Yeah, that's
I fully agree. And that's why I'm as brutal as I am for my daughter's safety, is because growing up in foster care, I knew what it meant to go through, because I went through foster care in the 80s. And I'm 52 years old, raising a 14-year-old little girl, and busting my butt to make things happen for my child.
Well, God bless you, because you're a wonderful man. And I don't mean to cut you short, but I have to close the show. I'm at 59-minute mark in about 50 seconds.
Okay.
And I want to thank first William for taking his time to talk to us. I think I put a connection with you and Danielle, who's from Georgia, and you two can help each other. I want to thank Michelle Coswell. She has the director's email for Georgia. Michelle does. So you have to contact her. And Medina, I want to thank you for texting in. I want to thank Nadia for texting in. I want Michelle Robertson. And she says she has Candace Bauer's email. and I want to
Mhm.
thank Natalia, and then I
Yep.
want to thank Nadia some more, Medina.
Natalia.
Those are the people that have
Mhm.
called in. I'm pretty sure I got them all. Wait, just
Mhm.
Ashley Williams.
Lori.
Ashley Williams
Lori.
came in.
Mhm.
Who? Who else?
And Lori Hiller.
Yeah, Lori. Yeah, Lori did too.
She
So I want
pops
to
in
thank
and
you all for listening. Don't give
definitely.
up. Do not give
No.
up. There is hope, and it is you're empowered to fight. And I'm telling you, if you have an attorney, no matter what you have to do, I sold my house I worked 40 years for, but I will someday get the material things back. But you're not going to get back your time lost with your child. So
All
it's
right.
important to get an
Right.
attorney and on that.
Right.
So with that being said, I'm going to exit off, and you can hang on there, William, for a second. And God bless y'all. And I'll see you then tomorrow at
Yep.
10 o'clock.